Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. My name's Tristan, and this is Elspace Books. Welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about my weekly reading. This is just my standard, normal weekly reading wrap-up video. I was also going to go over, I guess, a little bit of a book haul of sorts. It's me cashing in on some gift cards that I got for Christmas, as well as a couple of books that I just found randomly. I guess somebody was moving in my building and they left a couple of books that are mine now, which is cool. So to begin with, I finished reading at least the original text of Freedom Writers with Aaron Gruel, and I ended up really liking this. I felt that, well, initially going into it, I thought that it was going to be a little white saviory, thinking that it was going to be sort of Erin Gruel congratulating herself on how she changed the lives of all of these underprivileged and marginalized kids, but it was not that at all. It's very much the personal accounts of the kids at the high school and the at-risk kids and their actual, like I said, accounts of their experience in this class, and like how they personally reacted and connected to literature and writing and just the process of forming this community and family that was so meaningful and powerful and impactful for so many of them. So in the end, I really enjoyed this. I found it very engaging, and I found that as an aspiring teacher myself, this was a very powerful book for me. Kind of, I think, having more compassion for my students in general, and just, I think, giving them more of the time of day is something that it's not that it's not that I neglect any of my kids that I teach, but, it just sort of, I guess, reaffirms the importance of doing these things and just sort of the little everyday ways that we are able to form relationships and be there for each other is that's what this book does. And so it talks about that and reaffirms the importance of that as a teacher, and the fact that it sort of revalidates why, or like revalidates my feelings about that. So anyway, wow, it's not coming out very well. Anyway, so yeah, I finished this. And when I say the original text, so this is the 20th anniversary edition. There are a couple other journal entries that are the 10th anniversary and then the 20th anniversary ones. Sort of the where are they now type of essays, I think. And I've not read those yet, but I plan to. But my book club was wanting to read the original text, and so I did. The other book that I finished this week was Your Utopia by Bora Chung, translated by the iconic Anton Hur. So I finished that. The first, I think, 4 stories, maybe 5 stories in that collection were not my favorite, not very engaging, but then the last ones, including the titular Your Utopia, that one, it's like that story is what kicks off the last half of the book, and those are really good stories. So Cursed Bunny, I felt like there was maybe one story that I felt wasn't necessarily one that I would want to have read or would read again. This one, I felt like about half the book was kind of that, but then those last 4 or 5 stories were so good. One of them, sort of like Tree People, that one was phenomenal, and I really, really liked that one. So, I mean, pick it up for that one, if you will. But yeah, it was interesting enough, and again, like, it was a good reading experience. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Another book that I am making a lot of progress in is The Line of Beauty by Alan Hollinghurst. I read Our Evenings, which is right here on the gay shelf. Here it is, as part of Eric Cervini's Very Gay Book Club, and I absolutely loved it. So I wanted to check out more of his work, especially when I found out that he was a recipient of the Booker Prize. So I'm reading the one that did win the Booker Prize, and I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. It's very interesting. It's very, very E.M. Forster. It reads so much like him that it feels like you're reading a more modern day E.M. Forster, which I think, E.M. Forster did a lot of sort of comedies and satires of people sort of the upper class, and that's very much what Hollinghurst is kind of takes as his muse. And so it is just very much that. It's about a young gay man who's like 21 when the book starts, and he is living with a Tory member of parliament, and this is also set during the Thatcher years. Now, Thatcher is also mentioned quite a bit in the book as sort of this background figure, but she's never mentioned by name. She's always the lady or the PM. It's weird because the language, again, feels so Edwardian, but it does take place during the 80s, and so you sometimes forget that you're not watching an episode of Downton Abbey. You're watching something that takes place very much in the like contemporary era. So it's kind of funny in that case where it feels so antiquated, and maybe that's part of the like satire, because it's very much a lot of these like real stuffy wealthy people, and the fact that that system and that whole thing is very antiquated. This is also a very sexy book, and I think it does a really good job of portraying like gay male sexuality and just like existing as a sexually active gay man in general, but also in the 80s. There's a lot of cocaine in this book, which is one of the lines of beauty that it talks about. Like, there's several of the characters that are constantly sniffing cocaine, which is just snorting cocaine, that's the verb, which is very funny. And again, very 80s, because 80s was the golden age of cocaine. This also takes place during the AIDS crisis, of course, and AIDS has started to be mentioned. It's very much in the background right now, but I think it's going to kind of come more to a head as the novel ends. And so I am very curious to see how that all comes together and kind of peters out or doesn't. So we'll see how that goes. Again, very, very good book. And Hollinghurst is, I think, going to be one of my favorite authors, just in general. Now, I don't know if I have talked about this one before. I think I may have, but this is Il nous restera ça by Virginie Grimaldi. And I think I've talked about this maybe once. This is the book that I'm reading with my student, who's like more of an advanced level of French. And so, one of the best ways to learn French is to read it and to use the vocabulary and expressions that you find in the book, and also seeing them in the wild, etc. So we're making a lot of really good progress on this one. It's been slow going, and I think because obviously we do like a few chapters a week, but we are determined to finish this by the end of the month. So we are going to be picking up the pace with this significantly. And it's just a really lovely book. I think it is a good found family story. It's a nice story of three people who are living very lonely, very disconnected lives, who find each other and end up cohabitating and then forming this really lovely relationship. And again, the found family aspect. It's very funny. It has three very distinct perspectives. There's Iris, Theo, and Jean or Jean. Yeah, it's just a very lovely book with a lot of little twists and turns, and yeah, it's kind of a feel-good book, I think. I definitely would recommend it if you are looking for a light read in French. I guess this is sort of the book haul portion of the video, so let's get these all together. The first one that I acquired was Self-Sabotage by Jeffrey Self, and this is the book, the April pick for Eric Cervini's Very Gay Book Club with Alstora. I have started this. I am, two essays in? 2 essays and 50 pages, and it's fine. It's good. It's funny, and yeah, I don't know. I don't have any real strong feelings either way, but it's been good so far. Again, it's kind of like a solid 3-star experience. It's good. Not necessarily anything to write home about, but I'm enjoying it. So I had a Barnes & Noble gift card for Christmas that I used, and I recently read one of Brene Brown's books, The Atlas of the Heart, and loved it, and have heard really good things about the gifts of imperfection, and I like her writing. I think that she has a lot of very important things to say, and I think I remember watching one of her TED Talks a long, long time ago about the power of vulnerability, but this one in particular I've heard really good things about, and I again I like her writing, and I think because this one is so short, this is like less than 200 pages, it's going to be a nice quick read, but one that is going to be very impactful and one that I can continue to go back to and learn from, because I think this is just like a good one for dealing with a lot of internalized shame, and one of my big things is feeling like I'm not good enough, and this I think is kind of the sort of antidote to that in a lot of ways, the at least the like guidebook to dealing with that particular line of thinking. So obviously it's not going to be the cure, but because that work is something that you have to do over a long period of time. But this is, again, the guidebook for going on that journey. So I'm excited to get into that. I also bought the Essential Rumi, which I've also started, not very much. I've read the first section as well as like the introduction and everything. I've grown more and more curious about Rumi over the months, I guess more recently, but then just like over the years. I first learned about him in a philosophy class during my undergrad, so like 10 years ago, and I really liked his poetry. It was really beautiful, and I always see really great quotes from Rumi, and a lot of times he's quoted in the beginning of books as sort of what is that called, actually? I don't remember what that's called, but like the opening quote that they put right before the dedication or anything or something. I was very curious, and so far I'm enjoying it a lot. For a almost 1,000-year-old collection of poetry, surprisingly readable, very relatable, and I'm glad that I picked this up finally. And I guess that's appropriate because April is National Poetry Month, so I will be enjoying that for this month. The last book that I picked up with my Barnes & Noble gift card was Glyph by Ali Smith, which is described as a dystopian pony book. I'll be honest with you, I just read the book, I read the review of this, or not necessarily the review, but just kind of like an article about Ali Smith in The Atlantic, and I've always been very curious about Ali Smith's Seasons Quartet, but I wanted to get to this because this also sounded really interesting when I read the blurb. An uncertain near future, a story of new boundaries drawn between people daily, a not very brave new world. Add 2 children and a horse. From a Scottish word meaning a transient moment, a shock, a faint glimpse, Glyph explores how and why we endeavor to make a mark on the world in a time when Western industry wants to reduce us to algorithms and data, something easily categorizable and predictable. Smith shows us why our humanity, our individual complexities matter more than ever. So, sounds good. And I hear a lot of really interesting things about Ali Smith's writing and her storytelling. So, I'm excited to learn more and experience it for myself. And then the books that I just found that were left on the like entryway table in my apartment building: What the Dead Remember by Harlan Green and The Boys in the Band by Mart Crowley. This one I know is real gay because it won a Lambda Literary Award, and it just sounds very interesting because it says Harlan Green's poignant novel of gay life in the South captures the sexual awakening of an unnamed narrator over a period of successive summers spent in Charleston, South Carolina. I don't think I've ever read anything, any like gay novel set in the South. It could be, I guess Daniel Black's books. Those were taking place in the South, but nothing else. So I will be curious to find out more. It's also a very spooky cover, and I really, really like that. Yeah, I've never heard of this book before, so I can't tell you anything about it beyond what I just read, but I will have more thoughts about it as they develop and as I read it. And then The Boys in the Band, I've heard of this play before. This is a play, the script. There's a lot of very recognizable faces on here, like Zachary Quinto and, oh no, I don't remember his name, but the guy that plays Sheldon are on the cover here. But this is also a queer at least queer-coded play. So I will be very excited to read this because I've heard a lot of things about this. Of course, none of those things are currently coming to mind, but like as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, that's cool. So then, yeah, I picked this up because obviously it was free. And I thought, why not? It's very much in my area of interest for reading. And I think that about does it. I don't think I have anything else to tell you about. For the most part, it's going to be finishing up The Line of Beauty by Alan Hollinghurst, keeping on with Self-Sabotage by Jeffrey Self, and continuing to kind of pick and choose my way through Rumi. And I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to start next. I think it may actually be going into The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and then James by Percival Everett. I think that has been calling my name for long enough to where I think I just need to do it. I really want to reread Huck Finn because I haven't read it in like over a decade. I know you don't need to read them side by side, but I want to, more for my own interest. So that'll be kind of a fun thing to do, and I will take you along on that journey with me. But for the time being, that is all I have for you. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again very soon in another video. Bye!